Dennis, where do you have yours plugged in?
Oh, Gene is the longest. Either Don, either you or Gene are the longest members right now, right?
You and Gene are longer than me.
But Don's been longer than me. Okay. All right. Good morning. I like this, our candle this morning in memory of our good friend, a long time Cracker Barrel and Chalice Men, now known as Chalice Men's Breakfast Group. And he was a member for many years. He was a leader for many years as well. He was a treasured friend, and we miss him a great deal. But this gives us an opportunity to share some of the rich memories we all have of Marty being part of our group. So I invite anyone who would like to share a memory of Marty.
The second Sunday I visited Chalice, this man walks up to me and tells me about this breakfast group they have and asked me to come to the breakfast group, which I didn't know anything about at the time. So I thought, well, why not? I was living in Tibet at the time, so it was a bit of a drive, but came down and the very first meeting I was hooked. And I've probably been to every meeting since, as long as I've been not either ill or away on a trip. So Marty was one of the people who was most welcoming to me at Chalice and most caring and nice, and helping me get my feet on the ground there and be greatly missed.
Were you attempting to talk to me?
Gene, if you want to share a memory of Marty.
What's that?
Do you want to share a memory of Marty?
Of what?
Of Marty.
Marty, oh.
Any thoughts?
Well, I'm just glad that he was with Chalice when I first came to Chalice.
Oh.
I'll share a memory. It has to do not so much with him in our discussions together as the realization that the care he showed for Doris in driving her always, whenever she wanted to go someplace. And I guess he drove other people places too.
Yeah.
So he's a very generous, giving soul.
He, for many years, he gave Newt, probably one of the founders of Cracker Barrel, picked him up and brought him to Chalice, to Cracker Barrel, and brought him home. And exactly the same thing. Absolutely. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted someone.
No, not me.
Well, I've known Marty about 5 years, and I was really impressed by all the painting he did.
Yeah.
The portraits of different people from across the world, and I got to thinking that sort of recording, people on paint and in physical pictures was always impressive to me, and I'll always remember that.
Well, when I first came to the group, which was then known as Cracker Barrel, I didn't know, I knew virtually nobody. The only person I had met at that time was Newt, because Newt and I were both in a Buddhist a discussion group together. So I didn't really know it. I was a complete stranger to everybody, and Marty was, of course, the leader at that time, and he certainly made me feel welcome from the very beginning. I was very comfortable from the very start.
Yeah.
when we enter the chalice now, and there's be a chair or somebody missing there. He and
Yeah.
Doris always sat right there at the front. So that's a memory. And I remember some of the yard sales we had there, and he set up his paintings, and as Audrey and I did as well. So we were part of that. You know, so he was, I sort of remember him being the same age as my oldest sister. So he, I've just gone past 80, so he's just gone past 90. So that's my memories.
Well, I joined Cracker Barrel, as we noted at that time, maybe 8 years ago. And I think that Marty actually was leading the group then. And I always remember he always liked to sit, he didn't sit at the end of the table. He always sat in the middle of the table, which is a great place to sit actually. And he always just gently reminded us of what we were doing and what our format would be. Never heavy-handed. But one of the successes of this group is to have someone like Marty to be kind of the one that brings us together. And I know Richard's doing that now, and I think that's really special and really important. I had the pleasure of visiting Marty's house once, and what's interesting, he told me the story, and I think if I remember it correctly, I think is how we got started to consider painting. He and his wife decided that they'd like a mural. And I think they asked around for some friends who they thought were artists, and no one seemed to be available. And so his wife suggested, well, maybe Marty might want to paint a mural. And so he did. and it was really wonderful. I believe it's modeled after several New England towns, and which is where I'm from. And it was beautiful. Unfortunately, that's one of the paintings he couldn't take with him. Yeah, when he left. I'm assuming that he had pictures of it though, and so it was pretty special. And you're right. When you walk around Marty's house, you see all the extraordinary, beautiful paintings that he did over the years. Something that really meant a great deal to him. I might also share that he had a friend at Palomar, and they were also members of a humanist group. And they invited me to give a talk twice about some of the work I've done south of the border. And that was really special. I really appreciated that a lot.
Well, that's another memory I have of Marty, is that when you gave that talk at Palomar, Marty asked me if I would
Oh, you were there.
like to go there with him. And so we went together.
Oh.
Painting on the dining room wall, Marty told me that he had to start over a couple of times. But he just painted it all over with white and then started over.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of work. I mean, it was a lot there. He probably painted it over a number of months, I would think. But yeah, pretty special.
And it was really amazing to me how his emphasis was always on African American people. And he captured so many just amazing faces and poses and detail. And it was just that incredible how good he was.
Yeah. And what's really important to realize, of course, is that all those paintings are still here. So his presence will always be here among us. Although we don't have the pleasure of seeing them. I don't know. Maybe someone owns one of his paintings. Does anybody own one of his paintings? No. So Ed, we're sharing our memories of Marty. You wanted to share something?
I just remember Marty as being a very quiet person in a lot of ways. When he spoke, it was like there was meaning, that you needed to pay attention. And, he kind of reminded me of my father a lot, who also was that way. He wouldn't say anything. He'd sit in these meetings And then all of a sudden he'd say, well, according to what I've been hearing, it sounds like, and then he would wrap it all up. And it was always seemingly perfect. And Marty was kind of that way, there were words that had some meat on the bone.
Well, one of those meets was a story that he would share, and he shared several times, that meant a great deal to him when he was a child. You probably know the story I'm talking about. That when he was about, I think, 9 or 10, he and his brother and his father were taking a trolley through Harlem, and there was a riot taking place. But when Marty and his father and his brother got home, his father set him down and told him that African Americans have been terribly mistreated in this country, and you should not think ill of them because of a riot. It's simply a reaction to their way they've been treated. Now, I may not have shared it the way Marty did. Marty did a much better job, but that story meant a great deal to him, and obviously his father, pretty special to have taken that moment to share that, and that stayed with him for the rest of his life, and he acted on that.
Well, the other story he told was in the different neighborhoods. He lived next to the Irish neighborhood, and the Irish kids blamed him for killing Jesus. They started to, well, I didn't kill Jesus. What do you mean?
I think he actually ran to his father's shop and said,
Yeah.
These kids beat me up for killing Jesus. Who's Jesus?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And no idea what it was all about. Yeah, exactly.
The memories I had too of him in Cracker Barrel was when Ralph got a little impatient with the checkout lady when he went to pay. He said something, and the checkout lady, for whatever reason, was feeling really very hurt by that, and cried. And he looked at it and he said something about it. And then the next meeting, he brought it up in a very gentle way. He said, someone said something that disturbed the checkout person, a very nice checkout person. And we should be, you said something, you say, we have to be more careful of what you say to people and so on. And she was hurt and something like, I hope that doesn't happen again. And immediately Ralph spoke up and said, oh, well, that was me, and fessed up. But I thought that took a good deal of leadership and courage to bring that back and to raise that moral issue.
Yep.
Words can be weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, can't they?
I am curious, having gotten here a little late, and I know it's breaking the tone here, but how many people are in the blue room, is it called?
3 of us.
Okay, I see 2
Can't
of you.
see me. For some reason, I'm not showing up now, except in that little tiny picture at the very top. You see me back there waiting.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everyone. This has been it's been a wonderful sharing with Marty, and but as I put out this candle, although I'm putting out the light this morning in remembrance of that we used this morning, we're not putting out the light of his memory. There will always be, we'll always cherish, and he'll always be part of our group. So, Marty, thank you for everything, Marty.
Here, here.